Hello, my lovelies. Today we're looking at a deck I call Gary's Big Adventure, named so after the Grey Merchant of Asphodel, who is our star player here. Let's go ahead and take a look at him since he's the primary build around. He's 2 black, 3 other to bring out, and he's a 2/4 zombie. When he enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black, and then you gain life equal to the life lost this way. So, kind of like a drain life with legs and a sack overflowing with coins. He's pretty cool. And if you can get your board loaded up with lots of permanents rich with black mana symbols, you're going to have a good time. Your opponent's not going to have a good time. You're going to have a good time. Let's go ahead and look at the deck as a whole. It's pretty straightforward with a decent curve, as you can see right here. In the 1-drop slots, we have 2 copies of Bloodchief's Thirst. Just a fantastic removal spell, very, very versatile. You're rarely upset to see it. For 1 black, for just a single black, at sorcery speed, you can kill any creature or planeswalker with mana cost 2 or less. So a lot of the annoying things that the opponent's going to play out of the gate that are kind of must answers, stuff like Lotus Cobra, Edgewall Innkeeper, and to a lesser extent, like Stonecoil Serpent, they all go down to Bloodchief's Thirst. And then once you're able to kick it, everything goes down to Bloodchief's Thirst. And that includes Ugin, who is a big problem depending on what you're playing against. Foulmire Knight, we're running 4 copies of him. He costs 1 black mana for a 1/1 death touching zombie. He has an adventure half, Profane Insight, which costs 1 black, 2 other. At instant speed, you can draw a card, but you pay 1 life. So, pretty good card to get early in the opening hand even. He's a fantastic turn 1 drop. And late game, he's still kind of good because you can replace him with the Profane Insight, and then a 1/1 Death Touch can usually stop the opponent's biggest creature, or at least punish it with guaranteed death. Also in the 1-drop slot, we have 4 copies of Serrated Scorpion. Pretty solid 1-drop for black as well. It's a 1/2, so decent bud on it for just 1 black mana. But it also has the bonus of dealing 2 damage to the opponent and giving you 2 life when it dies. So excellent sacrifice fodder. And this deck does have a sub-theme of sacrifice. Fiend Artisan and Ayara are both capable of sacrificing creatures, and Serrated Scorpion will always be your favorite target to do that. In the 2-drops, we have 4 copies of Mire Triton. We're running the full play set. It's a 2/1 zombie merfolk death toucher that costs 2 to bring out. When he enters the battlefield, you mill 2 cards and you gain 2 life. So pretty useful in the aggro matchup. Milling can be a bit of a double-edged sword. It's always sad to see your lands go and you really need them. But, that's just how it is. The mill can also be beneficial for you in this build because Fiend Artisan gets bigger with each creature in the graveyard, and Mire Triton can pump him up. So if you play like a turn 2 Artisan and a turn 3 Triton, you can surprise the opponent with a potential 3/3 Artisan or bigger. We also run 2 copies of Timoret, Chosen from Death, mostly for the double black mana in the casting cost, which is super good devotion, but also because he's an excellent blocker late game for us, and also he provides that little bit of graveyard hate that you might want depending on what you're up against. Uro being banned now, graveyard hate doesn't feel as vital as it used to, but it's still nice to have, and you'd be surprised how often being able to trim graveyards can be useful. Next up in the 2-drop slots, we got a play set of Fiend Artisans, and this guy right here is one of my favorite reasons to be playing this deck. Like Timoret, he's also got the double black mana cost, so he's excellent on the devotion front, but he's also a sacrifice outlet for us. He can fish out other creatures. He gets +1/+1 for each creature card in our graveyard, so he's actually pretty good in some matchups like Rogues. That's just loading your graveyard with stuff, provided you could get him to stick. But most importantly, you use him to fetch key cards. Nightmare Shepherd and Grey Merchant being favorites to go grab for him if you have the mana. Moving into the 3-drop slots, we have the full play set of Murderous Rider, which is our removal spell of choice. It can be quite expensive to use. 3 mana is a little expensive, but it can hit any creature or planeswalker. It will cost you 2 life to do that. But this deck has its ways of keeping its life total up. So, not necessarily the detriment that it might be in some other build. He also is a 2/3 life linking body, which has 2 black mana symbols in the cost. So 2 black devotion on the Murderous Rider. Solid card. We love to have him in our hand. We get a little anxious about when to spend him, but he's just very useful to have. Next up, we got 2 copies of Ayara, First of Locthwain. Triple black mana cost, triple black devotion. 2/3 body that when she enters the battlefield or any other black creature you control enters, the opponent will lose 1 life and you gain 1 life. So she's a death of 1,000 cuts for the opponent and a slow sip elixir for us. You can tap her, sacrifice another black creature, and draw a card. That does come up a lot, especially when we have Nightmare Shepherd on the field, but more about that later. We're also packing a single copy of Loris of the Dream Den, which he needs no explanation, needs no introduction, just a very annoying card for the opponent generally, and a super useful card for us. Can get back all our really good threats that cost 2 or less, Fiend Artisan being the one we really like to get back. But in a pinch, you know, you need a Mire Triton, you need that extra life, you need a Death Toucher. Loris has got you covered. We're also running 2 copies of Agadim's Awakening. Most often going to be playing this out as a land. But every now and then, the Awakening half of it is super relevant and super powerful. It's pretty satisfying to pay 5 for X and then go grab a Grey Merchant of Asphodel and 4 other creatures from your graveyard and kill the opponent on the spot. It happens. It happens more often than you'd think, and it's great. In the 4-drop slot, we have only a full play set of Nightmare Shepherds. This guy's stacked, and in our build, he really shines. He's a 4/4 flying demon. He's also an enchantment. You have to watch out for that. He goes down to a Gem Raiser, but he's 2 black, 2 other to bring out. When another non-token creature you control dies, you can exile it once you have a Nightmare Shepherd. And if you do, you get to create a token that's a copy of that creature. Except it's a 1/1 and it's also a nightmare. So the 1/1 part, kind of a bummer, but in the case of Fiend Artisan and Timoret for that matter, they're pretty small to begin with, and Fiend Artisan's +1/+1 ability will stick even on the clone. So a cloned Fiend Artisan is going to be just as big as the original. And also worth mentioning is that the copies still retain their devotion. The mana symbols and their casting cost are still present there. So all your copies made with Nightmare Shepherd are going to fuel your Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which is the final card in the deck that isn't a land. It is a 2/4 zombie, costs 2 black, 3 other, that when he enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life for X your devotion to black, and then you gain that life. I'm pretty sure we already did that, but just for posterity's sake, we'll do it again. Grey Merchant is the butter to our bread in this deck. He's the guy that gets it done. He's our main win con and just a general headache for the opponent. If the opponent's been cleaning up on your board, he's not as effective. You kind of need a decent board for Grey Merchant to make a dent. But when he does, it's fantastic. And in the case of Nightmare Shepherd, if you have one of these already on the board, when that Grey Merchant dies, you'll get a duplicate. So either by chump blocking or sacking your Grey Merchant to the Fiend Artisan or Ayara, you're going to get another one. And in the case of Fiend Artisan, if you sack the Grey Merchant to Fiend Artisan and you have the mana, you go fetch another Grey Merchant from your deck. So it's really neat what this deck can do if allowed to do it. It's gross. With respect to the mana base, it's very simple. We just have 19 swamps and 4 castle Locthwains. Why only 23 lands? Well, that's because we got Agadim's Awakening. That is effectively our 24th and 25th land. So that's the deck. Let's take it for a spin and let's see how we do. All right, on the play. Fine looking opening hand. I'll keep it. We can curve out, potentially. Agadeem's Awakening serving as our third land if we don't draw a natural one. There it is. Go ahead and take our little nibble out of the opponent before dropping Timorat. Oh. What an obnoxious animation. Yeah, let's get a Yara down now. Swing. So, opponent not doing much yet. Ooh. That's not great. No good attacks now. Might as well hang back. I guess we could have played an Agadeem's tap. That would have been smarter, but whatever. No, we're not going to get a chance to Gray Merchant at full capacity here. They're eyeballing something. They got a Primal Might. That's unfortunate. Okay, so we're not as excited to drop Gray Merchant this turn. Do we want to grab a card? It would cost us 4 life. We can make it back if we grab... Nah. Let's just zap graveyards. We don't want to zap our own yet. Might be wise, though. They're running Scavenging Ooze. But we do want to have those creatures on tap. For this guy right here. This exact guy. Fiend Artisan's a good draw. We can keep him around. This can be fun for us. Looking at our graveyard. Probably have a Scavenging Ooze of their own. It's not really the power toughness that we... Oh, man. Can't do anything about that, can we? Not the power toughness of the Fiend Ooze that we really care about at this point. It's the fetch ability. But opponent doing a great job of keeping our board trimmed. It's amazing how much removal green has in the current standard. Effective removal. Really good stuff. Instant speed fight. One-sided fight. So, you know, Death Touch can't even take them out. Pretty good. Green is looking pretty good these days. Gobble that up out of spite. Alright, Bloodchief's Thirst is nice. What do we got in the graveyard? We're 1 land away from a decent Agadeem's Awakening. Let's keep this, not play it out. Harbinger's gonna be trouble. I think now. But maybe we wait. Maybe we just drop Gray Merchant. Timorat now an effective blocker with Gray Merchant on the board. No good attacks yet, though. Foulmire Knight, of course, an excellent blocker, too. An opponent only at 10 life. Somehow. Wow, that's a card you don't see every day. What does this guy do? Vigilant, Trample. Sack 3 food to bring him back. What a nightmare. Alright. How's Agadeem's looking now? Not too bad, actually. Do we want to get rid of the Feasting Troll King? They can get him back. We don't really care about the 7 damage right now. I would like to get that Fiend Artisan back. So, yeah, let's Agadeem's for 3. Grab our homies back. You get a little bit of life drain from that. Timorat can actually hold off the Feasting Troll King now. Provided they don't kill our Artisan. which they're about to. I can see they're hovering. If they don't kill the artisan, we can fetch out another Gray Merchant now. So opponent would be foolish not to. They do have a huge reserve of life with the 5 foods on board. So that's a little bit booty for us, but I guess it depends on what their 3 cards are. Feasting Troll King coming in. I don't care, man. Whatever. Maybe they're dry on removal here. Seems like they would have used it. All right. Well, this'll be fun. Let's go grab them. Yeah. They didn't even let us do the thing. That's okay. The writing was on the wall. All right. Excellent. All right, on the play once again. Not a terrible hand. It will be if we don't get that 3rd land. Let's keep it anyway. Okay, Selfless Savior. Looking at potential mono white. Likely mono white. I'm a fan of dropping Mire Triton. Although, yeah, no. That was land 3 and 4 we just milled away, as often happens with a turn 2 Mire Triton. Stonecoil Serpent. Bloodchief's Thirst is a super good answer for that, but I don't really want to blow it on that. What are the odds we mill away our lands again? Probably pretty good. So let's just drop a Foulmire Knight this turn. Follow it up with a Serrated Scorpion. Just build our meager board. I'm fine offering a trade here. We still have the Foulmire Knight on defense. Maul of the Skyclaves. Glad we waited, I guess, with the Bloodchief's Thirst. Really gonna need a land. There we go. So we could zap the Stonecoil this turn with the Bloodchiefs and still play out something. We could opt to go Ayara. Hope they don't remove it. Take a little bit more damage from the Stonecoil, but that sets up a more exciting turn. Next turn. Let's do it. Let's live dangerously. I guess the Selfless Savior would be able to protect the Stonecoil Serpent anyway. So, I mean, the Stonecoil is just going to fly overhead anyway, so let's just swing with everything. Try to race the opponent here. Ooh. Ah. Opponent on the aggressive white weenie plan. Agadeem's Awakening. Let's see. What do we do? We definitely have to get rid of the Serpent. Or attempt to. They'll use their Selfless Savior in response. That's just the way it be. If we're gonna race the opponent, we gotta do stuff like this. So, Agadeem's Awakening, not gonna be helpful for us in time, I don't think. So we play it out as a land. And then we drop a Triton. Get a little bit of life. The opponent down a bit. And yeah, we swing. We'll hold the Scorpion back as a potential blocker. Opponent is going to trade. Interesting. They probably won't play a ground threat, so we can just sack the Scorpion to Iara. We're going to have to act quickly now, though, aren't we? No blocks. We will be able to gain a little life off Timuret, if nothing else, next turn. We're gonna go ahead and do this now. Chief's Thirst is good. That's actually super duper good for us. How do we want to do this? If we get rid of the Legion Angel, we'd be able to swing for 5. I actually don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Might not be the right play, but it's the play I'm gonna do, darn it. Apparition gonna come down and take our Ayara. We have another. If we draw another land, we'll be in pretty good shape. We didn't. Opponent hanging back to block this time. We're just gonna be aggressive here. It is a ride or die. Forgot Stonecoil had first strike, but whatever. They're gonna need something. Because we got 2 creatures in hand. And that should seal the deal. Courtesy of Ayara. Alright, excellent. Put down White Weenie. Alright, on the play with a fine opening hand. A little land heavy. No early game plays, but turns 3 and 4 looking pretty good. So let's see if we can draw into some 1 and 2 drops. Blood Chief's Thirst, always a nice thing to have in the opening hand. Alright, still nothing we can do yet. On the lead with Fabled Passage, could be Adventures, could be anything. Fabled Passage doesn't tell us much. Mountain does, though. Yeah, and Lucky Clover says everything you need to know. We could be in trouble here. We don't have a very good start against the Adventures deck, which just pumps out the value to such an extent it can be hard to keep up, especially when they get all their fun stuff in the opener. Might see a double stomp on Ayara. There it is. No shortage of lands for us. Nightmare Shepherd would also go down to a double stomp. There it is. We could potentially get these things back with Agadeem's Awakening, but it would be expensive. Opponent playing 2 spells to R1. I think we are going to take the draw here. We're going to do a main phase. Another land. We're going to pass. We don't have to be shy with this Foulmire Knight because we could... No, they're just going to have all the stomps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stomps. Agadeem's Awakening can get all this back in like 2 turns. So maybe we could do that. It would be nice to get a Nightmare Shepherd into the graveyard before we did that. But we may not have time, even if we drew it. The opponent's just sort of going off on us. We definitely, most definitely, have to get rid of this Edgewalling Keeper. And that was the opponent's plan to refill their hand. Hopefully they're out. If they're out, we may have a chance here. We pass. Here they come. 6 damage to the dome. A whole lot of ouchies. Not going to be using Castle Lock Dwayne with this many cards in hand. And opponent with the Triple Wish. So, yeah, that always feels like game over. Some people not like really too clever with what they fetch out of the wish board. Other times, most of the times, it's exactly what they need and it's hard to beat. Soul Guide Lantern. Okay, there goes our only plan. Yeah, we're done. All right, on the play with a decent enough hand. We'll keep it. It's a little slow, but we do have a turn 1 play for what it's worth. Oh, with the Nessian Horn Beetle. Let's see, how many lands we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still think we do Agadeem's out tapped. Another Nessian. Alright, we are rocking almost the full playset of Murderous Riders in hand. Don't expect a Yara to stick, but that would be super duper if she did. These green decks are always packing Primal Might or Ram Through, so we might see that on a Yara. But opponent going for Garruk instead. Gonna pump a Nessian, which will pump the other Nessian. But we can just shoot Garruk down with a Murderous Rider, if we so choose. It tramples, so we'll just take the damage. Otherwise, I might consider throwing a Scorpion out in front of it. Ooh, Gary. Never too late to the party. Better do this now.
Well, hunt's over.
Pass the turn. Paranessian Beetle's not too much of a threat. Nor is a Garruk's Uprising with no 4/4 on board. Opponent's going to pass. Instead of, we could opt to sack the Serrated Scorpion to a Yara for the card draw, but I think I'll keep him down for the extra Black Devotion, because we're just going to jam Gary down now. And pass the turn. So now any big creatures that come down, they'll get some value out of. Harbinger's okay. Obviously we can't kill it with our black removal. Oh, of course, Uprising does give all their creatures trample. That's kind of stinky. Forgot about that. Let's go ahead and sack the Scorpion. See what we can find. Find a swamp. Another Murderous Rider. Alright, we're going to play out a Triton here. Ooh, sad to see that Gary hit the graveyard. And I think we'll hold up Murderous Rider. Opponent digging deep, thinking hard. Being annoyed as we play with its cute puppy. Oh, that is a cute one. Alright, Primal Might. How about we do this in response? Alright. Swamp's just coming in. Alright. Let's do this. Let's swing with the Trident. See if they're getting scared enough to trade. Not yet. Play out this guy. And hold up another rider. Next time if they do a Primal Might, we might see them do it on the Harbinger, as it would be protected from any of our black removal. Gonna be a Vivian. I haven't seen her in a while. Alright, it's gonna make a 3/3 critter. Essien gets bigger. Opponent playing defensively. We're gonna go ahead and take out this Vivian. Ooh, Fiend Artisan. Alright, what's the opponent looking like here? So we have 7 mana available to us. Think we're just going to swing with the Triton. No, we don't want to sack it to the... Let's just play out our creatures. And the Artisan. Artisan can fish out another Gary if they don't get rid of it. Our life total's pretty good. We can take a whatever they throw at us. All we want to see is this Fiend Artisan not die. That would be great. To that end, maybe it would have been smarter. Oh, they're going to tap out for Gargaroth. That's not going to save them. So they're definitely dead here. We may see a Hail Mary attack. Nope. Opponent maybe not aware that they're about to get clocked for super duper lethal. We get to do the thing. They're going to let us do it? Yay! Poof. That makes me happy. Alright, good game. Alright, on the play with not a terrible hand. We'll keep it. Nothing to do on turn 1, but that's okay. Let's lead with the Fiend Artisan. Follow up with a Mire Triton. Maybe mill some creatures over to make it more sizable threat. Opponent with the Speaker of the Heavens. Kind of annoying. We do have Murderous Riders in tow. So let's play out Mire Triton. Hopefully mill over some creatures. That'll work. Swing with our Fiend Artisan. And then for mana efficiency's sake, play out the Serrated Scorpion. Get ready to kill some stuff on the next turn. Aberration stinks. Life's better without those. So. I'm down for this. We kill the Apparition. Get ourselves a 2/2. Swing with these guys. They will trade the Speaker for the Mire Triton. We're okay with that. We have Lurrus, but we're going to need lands before we can make any good use out of them. I don't like playing Lurrus out when I can't use them on the exact same turn. So, Vito. Are we worried about him? Yeah, let's just kill him. Let's just kill him and get our damage in. And there's Daxos. Followed by Giant Killer. Alright. Nightmare Shepherd's a good pull. Go ahead and swing him out. And we'll just hang back. There's a Hagra Mauling taking care of our Nightmare Shepherd. Those things never stick around. I wonder why. Could it be because they're obscenely powerful if left unchecked? Maybe. Alright, we can now use Lurrus, but do we want to? I'm more inclined to smoke this Daxos. Like so. Swing with our blue bro. Yeah, I guess we'll play out Lurrus. Because we can get back this Foulmire Knight. And what is the opponent holding? A Null Priest? Kicked. What are they getting back? Skyclave? Yeah, that's kind of annoying. But we can deal with it. Great Merchant's not going to be super great this second. But he could be. A little while. So let's do this. Swing for the chip. Will they trade? They will. Opponent just clericking it up. Is Daxos not a cleric? Too bad for him. Nightmare Shepherd. There, we don't have any really good attacks, so let's just pass. Hopefully, yeah, opponent bricked with the land. And now we can get down and nasty with the Grey Merchant. If we had a sack outlet, we'd be in the money. But this might do it. 7 plus 4, yeah. Yeah, I don't think the opponent can stop this train. Nope. Alright. Grey Merchant doing his thing. We're happy. Let's see, in retrospect, what might we change about the deck? I think Blood Chief's Thirst could probably stand to be bumped up to 4 copies. It's such a good card. I don't know what you'd take out. You know, there's more than one way to build a Black Devotion deck, and this one is by no means the best. But I'm satisfied with it. I like the overall build, so I wouldn't tinker with it too much, honestly. I've built a number of them in the past, and this feels like the most satisfying version of it to date for me. It's always great to see Grey Merchant do the thing, the big bad thing. Get that fat lethal. It doesn't always happen. It doesn't always need to happen. Grey Merchant of Asphodel can swing the game for you in a much more subtle manner. He doesn't have to drain 12 off the opponent to have a huge impact. In fact, just getting that 4 life, 5, 6 can really make all the difference and turn a losing venture into something good for you. Of course, without the support, he's not great, and that's just the way it's going to be. The deck, it's fun to play. It's not hard to pilot. Fiend Artisan gives you all kinds of options in terms of how you want to play it. He can just be a big, beefy body, but he also plays a lot of fetch mind games. And yeah, he's just a great addition to the deck. I definitely would not consider cutting Fiend Artisan out of this build. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. I sure enjoyed making it. If you would, please like and subscribe. And, I love Magic the Gathering. I love Arena. And I would definitely be open to making more of this videos. This is kind of a new thing for me, but if this is the kind of content that you like, let me know. I'd be happy to do more. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you have a good day.